It wasn't supposed to happen like this. A heated argument behind closed doors, raised voices echoing down the hallway, and a decision so explosive it might redefine the entire future of the Cleveland Browns. Forget touchdowns and stats, this isn't about football anymore. This is about power, ego, and a rookie quarterback standing in the middle of a full-blown civil war. After weeks of silence, sources are confirming what fans have only whispered about. Shadur Sanders is playing not because of game prep or strategy, but because the owner demanded it. This wasn't a coaching decision, it was a power move. And what's coming next? It could be the beginning of a legendary rise, or the moment this franchise implodes in front of the entire country. But before we get to the Patriots game, you need to understand what triggered the explosion. Because the Browns didn't become a reality show overnight. They built this mess, brick by brick. And it all started with a win. No one's hiding it anymore. Shadur Sanders is playing not because he beat out the starter, not because the coaching staff gave him the green light, but because someone with a much bigger checkbook slammed his fist on the table and said, "Enough." This wasn't strategy, it was an ultimatum. According to insiders, the moment that changed everything didn't happen on the field, it happened in a back office, behind a locked door, where Browns owner Jimmy Haslam confronted head coach Kevin Stefanski with one clear demand: play the kid. Weeks of tension boiled over. Stefanski, trying to keep control of his locker room, tried to push back. He called it nonsense. Said it was about protecting the team from drama, from distraction, from media chaos. But Haslam wasn't hearing it. The Browns weren't selling chaos. They were suffocating in silence. And for Haslam, a businessman before anything else, the silence wasn't just embarrassing, it was bad for business. Shadur isn't just a backup quarterback. He's a brand, a headline, a walking storyline created in a Colorado snowstorm and fueled by primetime DNA. Every snap he takes is content. Every drive, a debate. And Haslam knows it. So when Stefanski refused to play Shedeur in a 25-point blowout, not even for a simple handoff, it didn't just frustrate fans, it humiliated ownership. The stadium was erupting in chants, the media had circled like vultures, and the hottest name on the roster was standing on the sideline like an afterthought. That was when Haslam snapped. And that's why we're here now. No more hiding. No more slowly developing behind the scenes. No more pretending this is just about game plans and player development. Shadur Sanders is stepping onto the field because his presence is too loud to ignore, even if the coaching staff is trying to bury it. Haslam didn't spend millions, take the media heat, and play political defense just to watch his rookie QB sit in the shadows while the stadium begs for him. Now, it's not a question of if Shedeur will play, it's a question of when. And for Dillon Gabriel, who just recorded his first win as an NFL quarterback, that's the nightmare scenario, celebrating a victory while the entire franchise is already celebrating your replacement. This isn't a football decision, it's a power shift happening in real time. The crowd demanded change, the media amped the pressure, and the owner just dropped the hammer. Up next, a game against the Patriots with the entire nation watching and a rookie quarterback being shoved onto the stage by a man holding all the keys. And that forced spotlight might be the beginning of something huge, or the spark that burns this entire operation to the ground. Because the Browns are done hiding. And for better or worse, the Shadur Sanders era has begun. You ever see a team win by 25 and still spiral into chaos? That's exactly what happened in Cleveland. The Browns clobbered the Dolphins, 31-6. On paper, that's dominance. Game over, mission accomplished. Everyone should have been smiling. Instead, it detonated the locker room. Because the story wasn't about the score, the stats, or the win. It was about the quarterback who didn't play. Let's set the scene. Cold weather, packed stadium, fans buzzing. The Browns are steamrolling Miami. Dillon Gabriel, the backup turned starter, is managing the game, avoiding mistakes, doing just enough. 4.5 minutes on the clock, you're up by 25. Easy. This should have been a moment for celebration. The kind of game you cruise through. Let the crowd enjoy it, kneel it out, move on. But instead, the stadium erupts. At first, it starts small, a murmur, a few sections chanting, then more. It spreads like fire in dry grass. They're not chanting defense. They're not chanting Browns. They're not even chanting for Gabriel, the guy controlling the game. They're chanting one name, Shadur, over and over, louder and louder. And it wasn't random noise. It was a message. We've seen enough. Put him in. Now imagine being Gabriel in that moment. First NFL win about to be locked in, and your own home stadium is begging to see someone else. You're standing on the sideline next to the rookie they really want, knowing you're just a placeholder. That alone could devastate a player's confidence. But the real pressure wasn't on Gabriel. It was on Kevin Stefanski, because he heard those chants. Everyone did. Jimmy Haslam heard it from his luxury box. The coaches, the cameras, Twitter, Instagram. Every mic in that building picked it up. You had 70,000 people demanding a glimpse of Shadur Sanders, literally begging for it. And what did Stefanski do? Nothing! He kept Gabriel in the game, finished the final minutes with handoffs, a sack, and a punt. Not one snap for Shedeur. Not 1 second. Not even a token appearance. Like the fans chanting didn't exist. And that's the moment everything unraveled. Because hiding Shadur might have made sense before, but after that reaction, after the entire stadium practically threatened to tear itself in half to get him in, now it looked like fear. Or worse, arrogance. A coach blatantly ignoring the fans, downplaying his owner's investment, and acting like chants don't matter when everyone damn well knows they do. When the final whistle blew, the win was irrelevant. The story became Stefanski versus Sanders, fans versus front office, hype versus hesitation. And you could feel the shift in the stadium, in the media, in the locker room. In 60 minutes, the Browns went from celebrating a blowout win to undergoing a full-blown identity crisis. Because it's no longer about what Dillon Gabriel can do, it's about what Stefanski is too afraid to do. And that fear? It turned a routine win into the spark that ignited a football revolution. Up next, the entire city melts down live on local radio, and that's where the Browns' darkest secrets start slipping out. By Monday morning, the 31-6 win over Miami might as well have never happened. The only thing anyone wanted to talk about? That one deafening moment late in the fourth quarter? When 70,000 voices turned a football game into a fan-led uprising. And nowhere did that eruption hit harder than on local radio. What went down on 92.3 The Fan, Cleveland's flagship sports station, wasn't just debate, it was a total emotional meltdown. Two trusted voices, Ken Carman and Anthony Lima, ended up in a full-blown on-air shouting match that captured exactly what was playing out in the streets, in the comments, and inside that locker room. This wasn't a hot take segment. It was a city tearing itself apart over a quarterback who hasn't thrown a single NFL pass. Carman, speaking for the fans, couldn't take it anymore. He called it what it was: insulting. He basically begged live on air. You could have put him in there. Who cares? Let him hand the ball off. The game was over. Fans were chanting, the crowd would have gone nuts, and you just give the people something. What's the big deal? And honestly, he wasn't wrong. This wasn't about starting Shedeur. It wasn't about benching Gabriel or launching a QB controversy. It was about a gesture, one simple snap. One symbolic handoff, a nod to a fan base desperate for change, for excitement, for a reason to believe. Instead, radio silence, followed by a coaching staff that looked out of touch and terrified of its own shadow. But here's where it got messy. Anthony Lima, who's plugged directly into the Browns facility, fired back, not just defending the decision, but revealing something even more revealing behind the scenes. He flat out said, "They don't want the nonsense. They're avoiding something. They think it would be disrespectful to Dillon Gabriel." Wait, what? Imagine that. In today's NFL, a franchise with a first-round rookie quarterback, overflowing with hype and demand, refuses to let him take a single snap in garbage time because it might hurt the feelings of their backup starter? That explanation shattered people. It felt soft, outdated, and most of all, fake. You want to protect your starter? Fine. But when your protection theory involves ignoring your entire fan base, in your own stadium, during a blowout, that starts to feel like fear. The wrong kind. And Carman said what everyone else was thinking? What are we so afraid of? The answer? Nonsense. Shedeur's a media circus. The moment he takes a snap, the firestorm begins. And the Browns, from the front office all the way down, are terrified of what comes with him. But in trying to avoid the storm, they walked straight into it. Now the city is fractured, the media is exasperated, the fans are furious. And the organization looks like it's hiding from its own shadow. Up next, we go deeper, because this nonsense the Browns talk about, it's not just media noise, it's a monster they helped create, and it's ready to consume everyone in its path. Nonsense. That's the word they keep using. Over and over. Kevin Stefanski said it, the radio insiders repeated it, the Browns front office supposedly built their whole quarterback strategy around it. But what is the nonsense, really? Well, let's break it down, because it's not just one thing. It's a perfect storm, brewing around one name, Shadur Sanders. First, there's the media firebomb. Shedeur isn't just a rookie, he's already famous. He's bringing cameras, debates, think pieces, guest spots on ESPN, trending Twitter arguments, and 15-minute YouTube monologues halfway across the country. He's the son of NFL royalty. He trained under Deion Sanders. And for better or worse, primetime spotlight follows him everywhere. And yes, the Browns are terrified of that. As one radio host put it bluntly, they're scared of Stephen A. Smith. They're scared of Ryan Clark. They're scared of Shannon Sharpe yelling about them on national TV. It sounds ridiculous, but it's not wrong. Cleveland's front office has spent most of the past season walking on eggshells, doing everything possible to stay out of the headlines. No drama, no surprises. Just quiet, slow progress. But Shedeur is the opposite of quiet. He's a walking media spectacle. And once he takes even one snap, the story isn't about how did Gabriel play, it's about why isn't Shedeur starting? It becomes a take machine. It becomes a circus. The Browns know this, and they've been trying to dodge that camera lens all season. But here's the issue. You can't hide from the spotlight when your own fan base is already shining it. They're chanting, they're posting, they're tagging ESPN clips and putting the pressure on. This isn't just a media problem anymore, it's an internal one. The energy around the team shifted the second Shedeur showed up in a Browns uniform. And then, there's the second layer. The eventual collapse of Dillon Gabriel. Now, nobody wants to say it out loud, but let's be honest. Even the insiders are admitting it quietly. Gabriel is a band-aid, a game manager. Maybe good enough in short bursts, but eventually, he will get figured out. On the radio, one quote stuck out. A career backup can go a handful of games without being figured out, but it's coming, and everyone knows it. That's the other thing the Browns are afraid of, the ticking clock. The moment Gabriel throws a pick or stalls out in back-to-back drives, the chance for Shedeur will come back with a vengeance. Difference is, next time they won't just be noise. They'll be validated by the owner's office. And that's where this gets dangerous. The Browns weren't just hiding Shedeur from the media, they were hiding him from their own locker room, from the fans, from any scenario where one glimpse of him on the field would shift the entire identity of this team. They believe that once you open the door to the nonsense, you can't close it. The national takes, the locker room whispers, the questions about leadership, favoritism, distractions, all of it floods in. And they were desperately trying to keep that door shut. But guess what? Shutting that door in a 31-6 blowout with an entire crowd literally chanting your rookie's name isn't discipline. It's cowardice. It's tone-deaf. Worse, it looks weak. So yes, the Browns are afraid. Afraid of the spotlight, afraid of the media storm, afraid of what happens when the narrative slips out of their control. But in trying to avoid nonsense, they've created something 10 times worse. A quarterback controversy they can't manage, a locker room they might lose, and a franchise held hostage by its own fear. And now, the truth is unraveling. Because the fans are angry, the owner is furious. And the media? They just got their next headline. Up next, the breaking point. How Jimmy Haslam stormed into that office and flipped the Browns' entire plan upside down. Here's the dirty little secret the Browns never meant to get out. They aren't afraid of Shadur Sanders. They're afraid of what Shedeur represents. And that fear was never about Stefanski developing a rookie or respecting the process. No, that entire plan, that public excuse about quarterback rotations and avoiding media distractions, it was all a cover. Because the truth is, the Browns were never building around Dillon Gabriel. They were simply buying time. The media tiptoed around it, the fans felt it, and eventually one of the radio hosts said it directly. Dillon Gabriel is probably a career backup. You can go a handful of games without being figured out, but that time is coming. And everyone in the building knows it. Gabriel's a bridge, a placeholder. Someone to manage a few games, maybe keep things steady long enough for Shedeur to stay out of the fire. He's safe, predictable, low drama. Or at least, he was, until 70,000 fans turned his job into an open audition he never signed up for. And that's the second lie the Browns have been feeding everyone, that this was about protecting Shedeur. Nah, it was about protecting Dylan. They didn't want to throw Shedeur in too soon, sure. But more than that, they didn't want Gabriel looking fragile. They wanted to preserve the illusion of stability. Let him get a win. Let him build confidence. Then, quietly transition once Shedeur was ready. That's what Stefanski thought he could control. But here's where it collapsed. By ignoring the crowd, by refusing to let Shedeur take even one meaningless snap, the Browns didn't protect anything. They exposed everything. They showed the world that they're not coaching based on ability or performance. They're coaching based on fear. Fear of headlines. Fear of losing the locker room. Fear of hurting Gabriel's feelings. And in trying to shield him from controversy, they accidentally told all of Cleveland he's not the guy. Think about that. Dylan Gabriel handled his business, won the game, led the team to a blowout victory. And not only did the crowd beg for someone else, but the entire organization's response to that was, well, we didn't think it was the right time. Not the right time? After a 25-point win? In garbage time? That's not protecting a player. That's frantically plugging leaks in a sinking ship. Because once you admit out loud that Dylan Gabriel is only keeping the seat warm, the clock starts ticking louder. And now, thanks to Stefanski's hesitation, the clock isn't just ticking, it's blowing holes in the front office strategy. Gabriel isn't just playing football anymore. He's playing under a microscope, so powerful one bad drive could end his shot. And you can feel the foundation crack. Stefanski tried to hide Shedeur. He tried to buy time. He tried to delay the firestorm. But in the process, he's turned his own plan upside down. Because now, the fans don't trust him. The stadium doesn't believe in Gabriel. The locker room feels the pressure. And worst of all, the man calling the shots isn't Stefanski anymore. Up next, the confrontation. What went down inside Jimmy Haslam's office and how it shattered the coaching staff's authority in seconds flat. The Browns wanted to avoid drama. Instead, they created a full-blown internal crisis. And when the smoke settled on that deceptively easy win against Miami, one man had seen enough. Jimmy Haslam didn't call a meeting. He launched a warning shot. Sources say the confrontation happened early Monday. No PR spin, no patience, no more protecting feelings. Haslam brought Kevin Stefanski into a closed-door meeting and told him, point blank, "This charade is over. You will play Shadur Sanders." It wasn't a suggestion, it wasn't a brainstorm, it was a command. Because from Haslam's perspective, this wasn't just about football anymore, it was about optics. Let's be clear. Jimmy Haslam didn't spend 7 figures, draft a national spotlight player, and greenlight the most attention-grabbing rookie in years just to let him rot on the bench while his team got laughed at for being terrified of ESPN. And that's exactly what's been happening. Stefanski's entire plan, his so-called development arc, his attempts to shut down media narratives had officially become the narrative. Fans weren't talking about the team, they were talking about the fear, about the silence, about the coach who looked scared in his own stadium. And Haslam? He was sick of watching his franchise be mocked for playing to avoid criticism. While Stefanski told the press, "We just wanted to finish the game," Haslam was upstairs watching the stadium beg for his investment to take the field, and that investment was standing right there, helmet on, ready, while his coach clung to a game plan written in cowardice. So, behind that office door, it got loud. Haslam, known for being blunt when the moment calls for it, dismantled Stefanski's entire argument. He didn't care about protecting Dylan Gabriel's confidence. He didn't care about Ryan Clark's reaction on first take. He absolutely didn't care about locker room distractions. He reminded Stefanski of something brutally simple. We didn't draft Shadur Sanders to keep the bench warm. And then he delivered the ultimatum. You will play him against the Patriots. Tell the media it's part of the plan. I don't care how you do it, start him, sub him, red zone package, trick play. Doesn't matter. What matters is he gets on that field. Why? Because Haslam understands the modern NFL better than his own head coach. He knows this business isn't just about wins anymore, it's about visibility, branding, buzz. And right now, Shadur Sanders is the face of the Browns, whether Stefanski likes it or not. Letting the stadium chant for him while he sits? That's not discipline, that's dysfunction. You're not controlling the narrative, Haslam reportedly said. The narrative is controlling you, and that ends now. And just like that, the power structure flipped. For weeks, Stefanski thought he was managing the situation, keeping the heat off, guiding the team his way. But now, the coach isn't coaching, he's treading water. Jimmy Haslam has taken the wheel, and his message is crystal clear. Put the kid in. The Shadur Sanders era starts this week. Up next, everything changes. Because now, the media is watching, the fans are watching, the locker room is watching, and if Dillon Gabriel slips even once, the entire stadium may explode. So now what? Shadur Sanders is no longer just a name on the depth chart. He's in the game plan, officially, publicly, and mandated by the guy who signs the paychecks. But this raises a much bigger question, one with no clear answer. How exactly is this going to work? Kevin Stefanski has confirmed what the world already suspected: Shedeur will play against the Patriots. But no one, not the media, the locker room, or even the coaching staff, seems to know what that actually means. Is he starting? Probably not. That would be a complete system overload, not just for the team, but for Stefanski's already wobbly credibility. A midweek announcement that Sanders is QB1 could look like total surrender. And even Jimmy Haslam might not be ready for that level of chaos. So let's look at the likely options. Option 1. The package play, special red zone formations, a few option looks, maybe a trick play. Just enough to check the box, get Shedeur on the field, give the fans a taste, and try to cool down the noise. Option 2. The quick hook. Dillon Gabriel starts, but he's now sitting squarely on the shortest leash in the NFL. And honestly, that's where the real danger lives. Because the Browns are playing the Patriots and this is a winnable game, Stefanski could have coasted into this week, run it back with Gabriel, and eased Sanders in on his own terms. But not anymore. Now, every snap Gabriel takes comes with a timer. A silent pressure building with each incomplete pass, every stalled drive, every audible groan from the crowd. Imagine this. First drive, 3 and out. Second drive, missed throws, punt, maybe a fumble, maybe an interception. You don't even need a full collapse, just one bad quarter, one small stumble. And the stadium will erupt again. But this time, there's no buffer. This time, the chance will carry weight. Because now, they know the owner wants it too. And in that moment, Kevin Stefanski won't be making a football decision, he'll be making a political one. Take Gabriel out? You just confirm to the entire league that you're not in charge. Leave him in? You risk setting off a mutiny in your own stadium. Meanwhile, in the locker room, players are watching. Receivers, linemen, defensive captains. Everyone knows what's happening. And whether they're Team Gabriel or quietly excited to see what Shadur can bring, they know the power dynamic has changed. Even Dillon Gabriel knows. Imagine walking onto the field, helmet on, calling plays, while knowing full well that the man behind you already has the owner's blessing. That your job isn't just about moving the chains anymore, it's about surviving an internal war. And survival is looking less likely by the day. This isn't football anymore. It's a chess match inside a pressure cooker, where every wrong move sets off another round of criticism, speculation, and scrutiny from every corner. Fans, executives, teammates, even national television. The Browns didn't just change their game plan, they detonated it. And now, we're heading into one of the most volatile, pressure-soaked, emotionally charged regular season games in recent memory, because the fans are ready. The media is locked in, and most importantly, the owner is watching. Up next, the Patriots. And the first bad throw might not just change the game. It could end a quarterback's career before it even starts. Let's get something straight. This isn't football anymore. The Cleveland Browns are no longer a team focused on winning a game on Sunday. They're a brand fighting over who controls the storyline. A fractured front office pretending everything's fine while the foundation underneath is splitting open. They've become a reality show, and the main character? Shadur Sanders, whether he's ready or not. The Browns keep saying they're trying to manage the situation, but let's call it what it is. They're in freefall. Dillon Gabriel, the guy they were supposedly protecting, has just been thrown straight into the fire. He's not just playing quarterback anymore, he's walking into a trap. He now knows. The fans don't fully believe in him. The media is sniffing blood. And his own coach might not be in control anymore. But the worst part? The owner has already picked his replacement. You think that doesn't affect a guy? You think Dillon doesn't feel the shift? Every question in the locker room, every tweet, every news clip mentioning Shadur just adds a little more weight to every snap, every throw, every incomplete pass. There's no insulation anymore, no margin for error. He could throw a touchdown and still get booed if the fans think Shedeur could have done it flashier. Because the Browns didn't just start a quarterback competition. They started a power struggle in front of 70,000 people and every camera in the country. Kevin Stefanski, neutert. He isn't coaching the offense, he's trying to hold together the illusion that he's still running the show. But when an NFL owner steps in mid-season and overrides your decision on who plays and when, your days are numbered. You're not game planning anymore, you're damage controlling. And all the credibility, the discipline, the team-first culture stuff Stefanski spent years building, gone. Flushed. Replaced with chaos. And the players in that locker room? They know. They're not stupid. NFL teams function on trust in leadership, trust in the system, trust that hard work will be rewarded. But now, that trust is broken. A blowout win meant nothing. Performance didn't matter. All that mattered was optics and pleasing the crowd, the cameras, and the owner upstairs. And here's the real kicker. The Browns were so terrified of letting nonsense dictate their decisions that they let it consume every part of the franchise. The very thing they were trying to avoid, quarterback controversy, media attention, locker room division, they manifested it into existence. This is no longer about Gabriel or Shedeur. This isn't about who's earned the job. This is a battle over the soul of a football team. Because when your decisions get overruled by TV narratives and Twitter mobs, you're not running a team, you're managing a storyline. And the Browns? They're not competing for wins anymore. They're competing for control. Control of a locker room, control of a narrative, and control of a quarterback who hasn't even started a game, but already owns the city. Up next, as pressure builds and chaos explodes, only one man gets what he truly wants. The owner, the director, the producer, Jimmy Haslam.